Good morning, December 21st, I think it is. It is Saturday. 2 days ago, Thursday, I did some painting in here and I came down I looked at them briefly yesterday, real briefly because I had the toddler all day long. Oh my gosh, it's just a beautiful day. Look at this, check this out. Sun shining over the lake. It's supposed to get to a balmy 36, I think. So really beautiful. But anyway, so I came down to take a look at these this morning, and because I hadn't really looked at them yet. And I didn't record the painting process because I just needed to paint that day, and my wife had the camera. So I'm here, but I've noticed now that I've come down here, my eldest son, the 17-year-old, has been using my tools again. And look, they're not put away. How many times have I told him to put it away, and he's stood up my artwork and stuff, and there's just dust everywhere from his sanding. So this is the dangers of shared space, but not only shared space. Well, that's one of his paintings from a while ago. Shared space, but also tiny space. I'm gonna grab a rag here. You can see I'm just crammed in here. I'm looking forward to the day that I can build a new studio on the property. So let's just wipe the dust off. Well, let's look at these over here. So I did some interesting work the other day. I've been trying to get out of my head. Ooh, this is pretty soft still. Just lightly get the dust off. I've been trying to get out of my own head on painting and not overworking pieces. I think there's some interesting things happening with these. These are 16 by 20s, something like that. And they are paint overs. My eldest son, a couple years back in my old studio had painted a bunch of things, and he's discarded them. So of course they become fodder for my own artwork. So recycle, I guess, eh? And I like what's happening a lot with the lines here. I enjoy the line quality that I use these cake decorating bottles for, filled with some nice fluid paint. And then I did some scraping and I pushed the paint up into the edges. Oh my goodness, look at that. Oh, it's wet. Call that another happy accident. So pushing the paint and the pigments up in here, and there's some interesting things that are happening. I always find it fascinating to see what happens up close. They become paintings to themselves, and that is really enjoyable to see. Sometimes I take pictures of the paintings, the close-ups, and then I will use them for inspiration for future work. Okay, let's see this one here. Maybe I shouldn't wipe these off too aggressively, as it turns out. So again, canvas board, same size. There was the blue behind, so these splotches of blue from my eldest son's painting that he had done. And then I painted over it mostly with latex acrylic, some house paints, and then I had some leftovers. And I did a little Jackson Pollock corner, if you will, transitioning. I'm still coming to terms with the influence of Jackson Pollock and other action painters, along and blending that with my abstract expressionism and what it means for me, for my own style, my own expression of ideas that I wish to do. And here's one that is done actually on a what's it called, a chipboard or particle board, not particle board, but chipboard. This is actually, I think, cedar. So sometimes when I don't have a lot of surfaces around, canvas that is, I will go and grab whatever I can. But I have worked with this chipboard before, and I like the background texture that comes out of it. I think working within that context can create some really interesting textures. Sometimes I'll take a gloss medium and shine this sort of surface up. Other times I'll leave it alone. And that surface treatment from gloss to a message just came in. Hi there. So that textural quality, the change in the texture is very interesting, whether you use gloss or satin or otherwise. Let's look at these over here. Oh, it's really bright today, isn't it? Now these are so dusty, I might have to do a little bit of, these are 14 by 18s. Let's set this over here. I'm sure that one's dry. This one clearly wasn't dry. This one looks pretty dry too, so I'm gonna wipe this down. So you may have noticed the big paint with me, Saturday paint with me a while ago, that I did some browns, burnt umber, burnt sienna, and some colors that typically you don't see me do. And this is another one that is a paint over. So all of these are paint overs from my eldest son's work that he abandoned. He's got a t-shirt company, believe it or not, that he's launching this month called Nerve, which is pretty cool, really. I've kind of hung out on the peripheral of that endeavor. Kristen has been helping him. Boy, look at even on a small scale, you can get these appearances of depth and movement, this brush stroke. Well, actually, I work with palette knives almost entirely. Really interesting. Let's go look at this one here. Oh, we already looked at that one. This is the one over here. Now this, I'll bet you this has got some wet paint on it. Oh yeah. I think I might like these. I didn't at the time. Let's go back a little bit on this. Interesting. So here I had some heavy body acrylic from Liquitex, and you can see how thick I get that on. Love it. Very sculptural. And I enjoy how when you use the palette knife or even a brush and pulling that thick paint across the canvas or boards, it'll pick up other pigments, other paints, and create these wonderful gradients of color. So I didn't have a chance to come down yesterday, but as it turns out, they might have been pretty wet still yesterday too. I think I like these. I'll look at them a little bit more before I make that decision. They may go for sale on our website pretty soon. And here's a little tiny one, just a random tiny one. Let's move these over. Looks like he's left a few more for me to redo. I got two here. I have a new concept I'll share with you later that I want to play with. I've been painting a lot more consistently lately, and that is good because that consistency will generate new ideas that'll help evolve your work, and that shows. You know, the more you can paint, the more you can evolve, the better the work gets. It shows up in the work. You can see when somebody's working a lot. It just shows up. It's the same thing with the martial arts. I can always tell when my students have been practicing that week, and I can tell when they haven't been practicing. So anyway, I just wanted to give you a quick showing of the work today, and I really like this one. The light's coming in, so I'm not used to this much bright light coming in. I really like this one a lot. Anyway, thanks for coming with me. My feet are freezing. I'm actually still in jammies. It's still pretty early. I had a break from the toddler, and now I'm going to go back upstairs and hang with him for some Saturday morning cartoons. Thanks for coming with me to check out these paintings this morning, and be sure to like, subscribe, comment, share my videos. And pretty soon I'm going to have some ceramic videos up as I throw some new pots on my old Randall kick wheel. So that's coming up soon.